Hey, welcome back to another video of me talking to the camera about dumb stuff. Last week's video did okay. I got 30 views. I mean, that's a record for me. No, it's not. Actually, if you want to see my most watched video, it will be my 10,000 calorie challenge, which was a couple of weeks ago. Go and check it out. The link will be in the description. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Last week we talked about fad diets. This week we're going to talk about steroids. My favorite topic to talk about. And I feel like people come to me a lot with steroid questions. Like I'll be in the gym and my mates will be like, hey bro, what do you think of this? I'm like, I don't know. I've never done them. And that's possibly a surprise. Really shouldn't be though, because have you seen my list? I'm the weakest dude ever. I'm the weakest dude you know. I'm 93 kilos. My max lifts are 145 kilo squat, 100 kilo bench, 210 deadlift. That's it. Not the strongest dude in the world. And also, if you go back to my previous videos where I've mentioned it a billion times and I actually showed some of my therapy, I had to run HCG for a couple of weeks because my plums,
I can feel it all the way down in my plums,
don't produce enough testosterone. So yeah, definitely not on steroids. Probably will be soon though. And that's kind of like the point of what this video is about, is that if you think someone's on steroids, they probably are. Pretty much everyone that you look at on social media is on steroids, my dudes. It's part of the game. But let's break down the simplicity of it, okay? So we all understand that testosterone is good, helps you recover, helps your muscles recover, helps you get strong, gives you energy, helps you bone like a madman. It's our primary sex hormone for men. For women, not so much, much lower. However, the response in the human body is very similar, regardless of if you're male or female. So in women, it can be a lot easier to notice, I guess, in some cases, because if you take enough, you start to present very masculine, and the body will reflect that you have more genetic male hormone in your body, which you've seen. It's called virilization. So you get women that have very square jawlines, they have a deeper voice, they may develop facial hair or chest hair, and they're obviously incredibly muscular. More so than most women will probably be. Never. So if you ever want to know if a woman's on steroids and they kind of look like they are, they are. And if you ever want to know if a guy is on steroids, a little bit more difficult, because in some cases it's not as obvious. Like, so it's pretty straightforward if they look like these dudes that they're on steroids. It's also a pretty dead giveaway, my dudes. If you go to their Instagram profile and they make money off how they look, they're on steroids. If they have this in their profile, they're on steroids. In fact, if they compete in pretty much any capacity above just the occasional comp or a regional thing, like their goal is to compete professionally, they're on steroids. Bodybuilding is inherently a steroid sport. Out of everything in the world, out of every sport, and I'm even talking powerlifting and strongman, bodybuilding is probably the most associated with steroids. And it's because you're looking at the absolute Adonis level physiques on human bodies. It's just not attainable without running some extra bits of help. And obviously this sort of is where it gets a bit skewed, because you're looking at people in bodybuilding going, you're on steroids, you're on steroids, you're on steroids. But in reality, obviously there's going to be some that aren't, but you're just never going to get to the Olympia unless you do. So it's a lot more prevalent in bodybuilding. You look at like strength sports, like powerlifting, everybody's on steroids. And this is where it gets like, I get into arguments over this a lot, because the USAPL, which is probably the most publicized of powerlifting, I'd have to say USAPL, is a tested federation, which means they will do random drug tests. And I would have to say that a lot of their athletes are just genetic freaks and they are just incredibly strong. But there are also some that aren't. There are also some that just know how to plan their cycles so that it will be out of their system with plenty of time. That's the thing about steroids, is that they do have a half-life, okay? So the amount of time that they're in your body, will only be a specific period of time. The only time that they'll show up is a very specific time frame. And so some out there will game that system a bit to get around it. However, I find that's probably actually a lot less prevalent than even I would like to admit, because it is very difficult. They're very like scrutinous on the results. Like if you have even the smallest amount, they can really be like, no thanks. But yeah, they're definitely there, my dudes. And I hate it because I think what I dislike the most coming from the powerlifting side of things is guys that lie about it, like obviously running stuff, and will say that they've always been natural. Not that they're natural now, not that they're not running something now, but quite literally will claim that they have never once in their life taken steroids. I'm not going to name anyone, I'm not here to shame anyone, I'm not here to call out some shitty drama, not like anyone's going to find my video, but there are some guys in this sport that absolutely, at some point in the time of them starting to lift, and today, they have run something. Once you've done it, you are now never natural again. It's not like, oh, I did steroids when I was 15, I'm natural now, I haven't done it for 30 years. It's like, no, you ran steroids. The results that you achieved can be maintained permanently until your body just inevitably breaks down. Like you get old and you break down. But if some kid ran cycles upon cycles upon cycles throughout their early 20s and then stopped in their 30s, they've lost the card. They've rescinded their natural card for the rest of time. And so that's kind of where it bugs me, is because they'll sit here and be like, oh, I don't take steroids. But you did once. It's done. You've made the decision. You've jumped on the gains train. It's okay. Nobody cares. Taking steroids, as I said, it's a part of these sports. It's a part of bodybuilding, it's a part of powerlifting, it's a part of strongman. Did anybody see that where Hafthor Bjornsson, Thor, he was like, yeah, I took steroids. And everyone was like, what? The literal strongest human being in existence? How dare he? Look at him. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? And this just points out the naivety. No offense to anyone, but you're a little bit naive if you looked at Thor at any point and went, yeah, it's a normal human, bruh. Anyway, moving on. The point of this video isn't for me to just sit here and rage about people who use steroids. It's just how it is. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that it's something that you should do. It's 100% still illegal. Just a disclaimer, it's definitely illegal in pretty much every country to run anabolic steroids. But it's a decision that you have to make. You can sit there and try and sort of proudly say that you're going to be natural all your life, but please do not base that decision off the fact that you've seen these guys on the magazines that are very much not, but say that they are, because it's giving you the idea that you can achieve that. You can't, hands down. I'm sorry, but it's the absolute fact of the matter. And the same goes for women. Absolutely. I don't care if they don't show virilization. They are more than likely taking some kind of substance to enhance their looks and to keep them lean. It's been happening for decades. Anyone with a brain knows about it. And funnily enough, anyone that's taken stuff knows about it. Like, you talk to people that actually run steroids, they can pick it. It's not like it's obvious. And unfortunately, no, you can't actually just say, oh, look, that dude has big cap delts, he's on steroids. It's not really like that. It's more the fact that we know the nuances of it. You can see the results people get and the consistencies in the results, and that's sometimes enough. So just because someone doesn't always present as the stereotypical bodybuilder image doesn't mean that they're not on steroids. Even some of the most obese looking dudes, like they're very fat, are on steroids, because steroids don't just make you grow muscle tissue. They also make you recover a lot faster. They make your muscles stronger and they recover from stimulus twice as fast. So you will have people taking steroids simply because they want to train harder and longer and faster, and they will get stronger rapidly. So if you see some guy who probably looks a bit weedy, he's not very, buffed up, but he suddenly went from, I can't bench 100 kilos to benching 200 or some shit in a space of even a year, the dude is running something in that time frame. I can almost assure you. Strength is possible to achieve. Strength in those numbers is possible to achieve naturally, but you've got to pay attention to the nuances, how quickly that happened. But there's also just physical changes to a human body that aren't really possible naturally. You've heard about cap delts. So these delts that look like they're literally 3-dimensional. So you've got a massive cap, you've got massive front delt, massive rear delt, and it's just literal like it's a grapefruit on their shoulder. Simultaneously next to that, you have traps that literally look like they're connected to the base of the spine, and it's base of the skull, and it's just bang. They have massive amounts of androgen receptors in that area, and we grow very quickly. So that's where you get those newbie gains where you're like, oh, my chest is like pumped up, and I'm starting to see separation. My shoulders are getting big, and my biceps are getting big. So massive delts, massive traps. The abs thing is a bit genetic. Some people will develop them, some people won't. And then that's where the diet comes in. But funnily enough, studies have actually come out and shown that even if you don't train, if you're taking testosterone, you will grow muscle, even if you do nothing. So you probably won't look like some of the bodybuilders that I've shown before, but you're gonna grow more muscle than the average person. But yeah, that's my video on steroids. This one's a little bit different. Last week was like a really good rant. I went into some topics. I kind of wanted to come into this one today to talk about steroids like from a jokey standpoint, but I just feel like that wasn't ever going to serve a good purpose. I could sit here and tag a ton of people on social media that I think you should avoid, but it's not my job to tell people who to follow or who to like or what to listen to, especially when it comes to fitness and health. If they're motivating you, then that's great. I just want people to be a little bit more transparent in this industry. But whenever there's money involved, no, you're not going to go out there and tell your boss you did something wrong, are you? If you want to see more of these, comment below. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. I'm not really here to sort of like appeal to everybody. I just like making videos. I have fun with them. I'm gonna go finish trying to get my screen printing shit working. I will see you on Friday, boys. See ya.